A lot of the debate around Facebook scandal was around responsibility and data ownership. Whose fault is it really? You know, shouldn't we know better? We've agreed to the terms, right? Well, the next speaker is the fantastic Jesper Åström, who is an internationally renowned digital tactics consultant and author. And Jesper is always an inspiration to listen to. And you have a way of stretching, just as Britt does, just stretching how do I actually feel about things and what is my opinion. And I'm kind of curious if you're going to get me to change my mind on anything today as well. Yeah. You will challenge us that we might not own our own data.
Exactly. Or I will propose that might be something we need to start thinking about if we don't already. And it sort of ties into what Britt was talking about, about democracy and about how our institutions are being disrupted right now by especially the internet. And when I say institutions, I mean everything that we have built, that we have structures around, which we have laws around and things like that, that is now being questioned by our own use of digital technology and especially the internet. And now is the time, you know, we've seen a development when media, when the financial industry, when all of these industries have been sort of challenged and they've had to change and they've tried to regulate those things for us. And they've adapted, found new ways in order to do business. I believe that now is the time when we're looking at democracy and we're looking at representative democracy being challenged the same way. And with that, the sole foundation in representative democracy, sort of the product or the raw material in that's us as people. And so I don't believe that the questioning that occurred in the Senate of the US happens because of Facebook or Cambridge Analytica storing data. Because if you ask anyone on the street, do you care if I hold your data for you for a while? Or do you care if I remember your name? And they're like, yeah, I want you to remember my name. I want this thing. I want websites to be useful to me. And I want UX to be all around, you know. I want it to be easy and feel free to move around. And I want things to remember things for me because I don't. So we want the utility of that. On the backside of things, considering what has been challenged in all the other industries, we're now looking at the internet actually challenging two of the things which have been very strong to us. And the first one is property and the definition of what property really is. And when we are the property, meaning our data is the property. And the question there becomes, what is actually property when everything can be copied to infinity? We've seen the same thing in the financial industries with those subprimes. We've seen it in the media industries, you know, with Pirate Bay and things like that. Now it's the democracy being threatened, and we are the product. And when we can be copied into infinity, then what, right? Do we actually own the stuff? Because we can still keep them. We are still us, but someone can also use us, right? But we still have as much of us, but they also do, right? So who actually owns that? So we'll get into that. The second thing is identity, and that is when we in a digital setting can be anything, anyone. Today I am me, tomorrow I am a frog, the third day I am someone bashing another person on the internet forum, anonymously, and the next day I am #MeToo. When I am all these identities, from day to day to day to day, spontaneous identities, how many of these identities can I actually claim to be mine? Now, I will try to propose three things. One is a moral argument against why we own our own data. One is a legal argument as to why we actually don't own our own data. And the third one, it is a technology argument as to why we do not own our own data on the internet, right? So, the moral argument. We were really happy when music came available and we could download all the music in the world, we could download all the movies in the world, we could download everything and then just consume. We were really happy about that. It was useful. It was not 13 tracks on a disc that we had to go and pay 200 crowns for anymore, but it was all the music in the world at our disposal at any time that we wanted it. We loved the internet when that was the product. We love it when Uber, challenges the taxi companies and makes it really easy to go from one place to another and then get food all of a sudden from one place to another. And they get, making me the center point of attention, right? I don't have to call someone. We rarely have to wait anymore. And we loved it when Obama used all this nice data to create engagement around an election and donations, and we gave him the email so that we would donate more over time and things like that. We love that because he built that on the notion that it would create hope, right? The applause have stopped because the same tactics that were being used for that were being used for something else. I believe that it's not the storage of our data, but it is the use of our data that is really the problem. And I don't think that, or I believe that we don't have any grounds to claim the moral high ground here around ourselves now that we have become the product, because we've been so happily walking along, getting all the benefits, and now when we are the product, I don't believe that there is a moral argument for not being a part of that change on the internet. The second thing is our identity. Now, this is a bit of a bigger issue and a bit of a more abstract issue. And it's like when I'm standing here, I am me. You can touch me and I am me, and you can feel that. But when I post something to Facebook, I would like to ask, is that really me? Not in the sense that I only post the best things of me, but I post a photo of me, and that's like a square digital frame. That's not me. I'm 3D, right? I have emotions. That thing, that piece of data is not actually me, but it's a digital representation of me, right? And so when someone comments on my Facebook page that I want to murder you, I can go to the government and say, someone threatened to kill me, right? But when another type of digital representation of me, as in the world of Warcraft, when I am in my avatar there, or my dude fighting in my team, and they say I am gonna kill you, and they kill my digital identity there, then I can't go to the government and say they killed me in World of Warcraft, right? It's just not a representation. It's not for real. It doesn't happen in the real world. They don't say it face to face. They can't feel my emotions. It's just that we've become accustomed to that whenever we post something on a page and we give it a name, which we could give any name really, in one setting, we see that still as the institutional world. But when we do it in another setting, we feel that it's not a part of our institutions, and that doesn't have the legal grasp. They cannot, catch it. And so I am questioning where the moral boundaries go. When do we believe that we stop being the owners of our identity? Because if you ask someone who plays World of Warcraft if they care about the profile that they have there, they care and they feel and they cry and they're angry and they have all these emotions that are very human, but that identity doesn't count, right? But this identity does. And that hasn't even gone into anonymity, where, I am someone which I am not. But if I am on a flashback, a Swedish forum, if I'm on flashback and I threaten someone there, being anonymous, not even taking responsibility of that identity, right? Then what? So that's something that I like to, at what length do our moral, obligation to connect an identity to a person go? Then there is the legal argument. And so we all love GDPR, right? Yeah, because it protects our our privacy, and it protects us and our right to own our own data. Now let me ask you, if someone breaks into your house and steal your car, who do they pay damages to? Like you, right? And if someone uses that, or if someone abuses you, you know, and they get caught, who do they pay damages to? It's you, right? Now, if someone uses your data, then who do they pay damages to according to the GDPR? So who really owns your data? You own you own your house, and so naturally you get the damages. But according to the GDPR, someone else gets the damages when they use you or abuse you. So I would like to argue that legally, the GDPR is just a way of moving the ownership of your property, your privacy, from you to the EU. Yes, if they hurt you, you can claim damages, but if they store you and you can't prove that they've damaged you, like which is most of the GDPR, then you know, you're not getting anything. So I don't believe that you're legally right to your own data anymore. And then we have the technological argument. Now, if you wanted to fly, there are many options to do that, right? But I would suggest you use a plane. If you want to learn, there are many options to do that as well, but I would suggest you go to school, right? Now, if you want to sell something, you can do that also many ways, but I would suggest you put it in a store. That's the easiest way, right, of solving those problems. Now, the internet was built as a framework to increase the access of information. Right? That, you know, it was built as a framework to increase the access to information. Why on earth would you put something that you don't want someone to have into a place where that is built to make it accessible? Like, why on earth would you put it into technology? It's like, if I want to drive, I sit in a car. You know, I wouldn't put my imaginary 5-year-old kid. I wouldn't put that person in a antique glass store and then go like, I'm gonna go off for a while, play nice, right? I'm not gonna do that because I know it's a bad idea. Why do I put all of my personal information online and don't expect people to access it? I don't get it. It's a wrong technology to do that. But just to end off, I believe that there is a solution to all of this. I believe that you should have the property rights. I just don't believe that the internet is the technology for it. I don't believe that laws are the ways to protect it. And I don't believe that we have the moral grounds to claim these rights as it is today. But I believe that with the introduction of blockchain, that actually ties your ownership to your digital assets, like that actually ties it. You can say that that copy is a real copy. You can do that with the blockchain. You cannot do that with the internet. I believe that the solution lies in there, and I believe that all of these like threats and demonizations of technological development that we're seeing right now shouldn't be put in place to stop that evolution. And that is my argument.
Thank you, Jesper. And of course, we're going to ask the audience what they feel after this. So, do we have the right to our own data online? See how tough the panel debate is going to be.
I thought I would be alone. Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll talk more during the panel debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to let that run for a bit. Once again, it's quite interesting that we're splitting in half most of the time. Well, a bit more think that we should. It's going to be an interesting debate.